The Arizona-Mexico border stretches 262 miles. We're talking thousands of square miles of mountainous terrain.
Those mountain ranges out there, which goes into Mexico and the U.S., are the Pajaritos mountain range, and then the next range north are the Atascochas. The Atascochas, they get a lot of traffic, a lot of dope, narcotic traffic out there.
It's obviously a huge area for the 4,200 agents on the ground patrolling the border.
Which is what can make the job challenging and difficult at times.
A challenge met head-on with a little help from above. 1,200 agents, a fleet of 272 aircraft, including a drone plus an array of planes and helicopters, make up a large part of the Office of Air and Marine. Their big mission, anti-terrorism. So far this year, they've seized almost 200,000 pounds of marijuana, made 12,000 apprehensions, and performed 21 rescues. Well, make that 22.
A possible situation in Douglas. We've got an agent stranded on a hilltop for a couple of days now because of the water. They're requesting a Black Hawk. I'm wondering how you guys might be able to extract an individual.
Photographer Enrique Salinas and I were on the Black Hawk, originally planned to back up any agents on the ground working an apprehension or drug seizure. But just minutes after taking off, the distress call went out.
Do we not have any idea what the terrain looks like? I mean, can we get low enough that we can just pull them in?
Do you have any better description on the terrain? I mean, how's it looking? Is it open enough, or is he in a bad area, like a crevice where he can be extracted via ropes? At this point, negative on the ropes.
As the pilots worked with the guys back in Tucson at the Joint Field Command Center, the crew prepped us for the mission.
Either way, y'all are going to go.
Yeah, either way. This is a agent stranded on a hill, that's what it is?
Yeah, it sounds like an OVP agent who was stranded from the floods that we had. Can't believe he's been there for a couple days.
Yeah, you heard him talking about floods in the Arizona desert. The southwest part of the state was hit hard by the remnants of Hurricane Odile in September.
If we get there, it's going to be a while. It'll probably be a good hour flight out there. We're just not totally sure we can still make it there.
Okay.
Low clouds, rain, and poor visibility were making it tough for our pilots.
It's going to be the tricky part up here at 1 o'clock where it starts to go up that hill.
While certain parts of the flight were questionable at times, the pilots maneuvered us around the ridges and low clouds.
All right, we got 5 miles to go. 5 miles heading east.
At more than 150 miles per hour, it didn't take long.
Should be there about 3 minutes, guys.
As we approached the mountain, we saw the reason this agent was stranded.
See this? This isn't normal.
Pretty harsh right there.
That's amazing.
Flash flooding, an extremely dangerous phenomenon and just another added danger for these agents. As we circled around, the pilots talked with a stranded agent on the ground.
I'm planning on landing on the south of them, facing the truck to the north.
While the pilots landed the Black Hawk, a third agent sitting next to me gets ready to bring the agent on board.
Down and right. Yeah, let's go there. Stay there, okay? And I'll send somebody out. Depressed, released. Now.
The rescue operation is a success.
Transfer complete. Thank you. Caution visor water panels, check.
Within a few minutes, we're back in the air and heading toward the Douglas, Arizona CBP headquarters.
We'll just kind of take them to the station. We're going to fly right over it.
Nogales, Arizona. It's the state's largest international border town. On the other side of this fence is Nogales, Sonora, Mexico.
This is the international border fence.
These agents face a unique challenge.
Look how close as far as this fence, if a person jump, look how close they are to a house, to one of these alleyways. In these areas here, agents literally may have only seconds to minutes to be able to respond before they potentially can lose a person.
This fence recently got a facelift. At one time, it was nothing but a solid sheet of metal.
Now having these ballast-style fencing, you can see what potential threat can be looming on the other side.
You can also see if and where illegal immigrants climb the fence.
Every day we have people attempt to try to jump the fence and incur on the border here. So these are potentially fingerprints here that you can kind of see an individual that may have been trying to obviously go up and over the fence. Now this is something that they'll use quite often. I'm gonna see if we can get a better view of some others as well. Let me see. Oh, see it right here. I can see this right here also. These are like fingerprints. You kind of can see the first 4 fingers of it as they're using it and see how it went up.
210 miles of the Arizona border have some type of fencing.
It's very beneficial, very useful. The remaining 52 miles consist of different obstructions from the earth. But you kind of can see it, Cody.
Border Patrol agent Brian Flowers drove us outside of Nogales. You can see it's much more remote. The mountains are often compared to those in Afghanistan.
The terrain here within Tucson sector is very challenging and it's very rough, rugged terrain.
Out here, we found the bollard-style fencing ends. You can see barbed wire fencing with tree branches as posts connects the bollard-style fence to vehicle barriers.
And some people look at this and say, okay, you're going from that fence to this one. I mean, this is easily jumpable.
And I do understand, well, some individuals will feel that way, but our reasons for doing that is because we feel in the area over here, yes, it would be easier for individuals to maybe just go and climb under or climb over. But through our statistics, through our intel reports that we have, it's shown that more drive-through vehicles will typically travel in those areas, which is why we will put up the vehicle barriers instead of the bollard-style fencing.
During our interview, we were interrupted.
Can you see him?
We stopped the interview, and Agent Flowers turned his attention toward what he said appeared to be a group of people trying to cross. He said we were hearing a coyote, a person who smuggles illegals across the border.
Sound like they could be like 100 yards away. Not far.
The latest data out of Mexico shows people will pay these coyotes $3,000 to $4,000 each.
I won't be surprised if they're walking eastbound, maybe just about 150 to 200 yards south of us right now.
While we were listening and waiting, I spotted a person on horseback, typically referred to as a scout, someone who keeps an eye out for the coyotes. And it didn't take long until we were spotted.
Thought I was going to see them walk through it because they sound like they was literally walking on this path. But then I heard the voices stop.
The agents say this is a typical day along the U.S.-Mexico border. Not only are there boots on the ground, but technology plays a crucial role in protecting our border. These high-tech towers are strategically placed along the fence line.
It has a radar package on it, has infrared capability, allows the camera to go 360 degrees. And like I say, basically it's there to detect any potential border incursions, along the border.
Whether it's on foot through the desert or on their hands and knees, crawling through underground tunnels, Border Patrol agents find themselves apprehending illegal immigrants and seizing drugs on a daily basis.
Literally may have only seconds to minutes to be able to respond.
The port of Nogales separates Nogales, Arizona from Nogales, Sonora, Mexico. It's been around since the early 20th century.
Every port is different. Right. Every port has different challenges. Here at the DeConcini crossing in Nogales, Arizona, the port was literally set right on the line.
This poses a challenge for these officers.
Our top priority is terrorism.
The officers only have seconds to recognize a threat.
The key is to identify which travelers are high risk.
Technology is obviously a big part in identifying a threat, but Guadalupe Ramirez, the port director, says his men and women are the first line of defense.
When someone drives up, before you even ask them a question, you look somebody in the eye, and you can tell something isn't quite right.
It's basically a game of hide and seek. At this border, it's not just vehicles coming through.
We had 3 northbound pulls and 3 southbound pulls a day. We have an imaging system that we use, so we require them to come through at 3 to 5 miles an hour, and we're scanning every rail car as it comes in. Then we follow the train out to where it does its first stop, which is right at the rail yard about 12 miles down the road, so it doesn't block the intersections. And we inspect the train there as well.
Trains aren't the only thing being scanned, x-rayed, and inspected before a driver makes contact with an officer.
We have a lot of technology that we use here to help us process the cars as fast as possible. We have license plate readers. When the car comes through, it runs a license plate for the officer as the car is moving forward.
Terrorism is Customs and Border Protection's top priority. Since 9/11, the U.S. has worried about people bringing in dirty bombs.
The next thing you see are the white boxes that are radiation portal monitors. That'll pick up any kind of radiation.
Plus, there's other technology at this port working simultaneously to help officers alleviate a threat.
97% of these folks are just nice people coming to shop. It's that 3% that poses that risk that we have to, it's like a needle in a haystack. We have to be able to identify that threat.
These officers say they've seen methamphetamine, heroin, coke, weapons, and even human smuggling.
She was inside this piece of luggage. We do a lot of jobs here.
And they are experts when it comes to finding drugs and money.
Anywhere you can imagine, we have found narcotics in these cars.
Officer Ramirez says smugglers use hidden compartments like this one.
It just looked like cases of cokes, but the compartment was underneath all the bottles, and you had the bundles of narcotics in there.
This fire extinguisher, cut, stuffed with drugs, then resealed. Plus, check this out.
These are actually metal boxes, and the narcotics is in the metal box. It's strapped to the rim, the tire is put on, and then inflated and balanced.
That's inside the tire.
It'll be inside that metal box that is inside the tire, and it's on the car. These tires were on the car rolling down the road.
And this may look like firewood,
but they were all hollowed out and they had narcotics inside.
the list goes on, but Officer Ramirez says drug traffickers are moving away from marijuana.
The trend that we've seen for the last few years is that they're moving more towards the hard narcotics.
They say it's less quantity and more money. Ramirez says drug traffickers have a lot at stake, and these officers are under surveillance.
If you look into Mexico, you see the houses up on the hills.
This house is referred to as the Castle. Customs and Border Protection tell me organized criminals use it as a lookout.
Because Mexico has the high ground, that gives the drug traffickers an opportunity to watch us.
While the focus is on drugs and illegals,
What we do as an agency is not just narcotics and national security, it's also economic security. There's a few misconceptions. One of them is that everything is cheaper in Mexico. The reality is that things are more expensive in Mexico, and the quality is not the same as what you buy in the United States. If you look over there, you'll see the pedestrians walking back. Look at every one of them has a bag in their hand. They're all buying merchandise.
3 million people walked through the Nogales port last year. The same amount of vehicles drove through it, carrying 6 million passengers. For the city of Nogales, Arizona, the state of Arizona, and the U.S., this port is an economic driving machine.
Our job is not just to facilitate travel and trade, it's to encourage it.